Identify yourself for the record.
Mario Bolger.
All right, today's the time and date set for a bench trial. Mr. Yelsik, are you ready to proceed?
We are, Judge.
Do you have any opening statement?
I would waive opening statements if unless Mr. Bolger has an objection.
So, Mr. Bolger, you haven't, I'm guessing you probably haven't done this before.
I never done this.
Okay, so when there's a jury, a lot of times they don't know what's happening, and so what happens is each side gets to kind of say what they think the facts will show of the case. Since I'm the only person listening to the case, typically we don't do an opening statement. You can if you want to, but I suspect that Mr. Yelsik would say that the deputy stopped you, thought you had alcohol in your car, and you made some admissions or didn't make admissions, whatever, and that'd be the end of the statement. So he's just saying he's not planning on making a statement because we'll just put the witnesses on. Do you have any objection to that?
No objection.
Okay. So, Teresa, would you mind making a call when you get a chance to Lance? My computer screen on the right-hand side is freaking out on me. It's all digitized and blue, and it's not going to stop us in these two proceedings, but it's going to be a problem long term.
Okay.
All right. Let me pull up my form. Are you ready to proceed then, Mr. Yelsik?
We are, Your Honor.
Okay. You want to call your first witness?
Thank you, Judge. People call Deputy Christopher Levely to the stand.
All right, deputy, come on up, and Tracy will swear you in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Step on the ramp. All right, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please state your name for the record.
Deputy Chris Levely,
Thank you, sir. And where are you currently employed?
the Midland County Sheriff's Office,
Thank you. And how long have you been so employed?
since February of 21.
Okay. And in that capacity, were you employed, were you employed in that capacity on or about March 17th, 2021?
Yes,
And did you make contact with a vehicle at approximately 11:39 p.m.?
yes,
Please walk us through what happened.
sure. On that date and time, I was conducting stationary radar on Isabella near 7 Mile when I observed a silver Mazda CX-5 traveling westbound, and the vehicle appeared to be traveling faster than the posted speed limit. I activated my radar in unit 41 and verified the vehicle speed at 75, and the posted speed was 55.
Okay, what happened next?
I conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle around Isabella and 8 Mile and identified the driver as Antoinette Williams, and Mario Bulger was the passenger.
Okay, so that traffic stop occurred on Isabella Road near 7 Mile, is that correct?
Yes,
That's in the county of Midland, correct?
yes,
State of Michigan.
yes,
Is that around Lee Township?
yes.
Okay. And what happened when you made the stop?
I made contact with the driver. She was very cooperative and she understood she was speeding. No issues there. At this time, I was riding with Sergeant Doolin. He was my training officer at the time. He walked up on the passenger side of the vehicle and made contact with Mario.
Okay. Okay. Now, as a result of what happened, and we'll let Lieutenant Doolin talk in a minute, but were any citations issued?
Yes.
Okay. And what citations were issued?
One citation was issued to Antoinette, the driver, for speeding. And then there was also a citation issued to Mario for open container of nitros.
Now, did you write those citations,
Yes,
Deputy?
I did.
And just to be clear, that do you see Mr. Bulger here today?
I do.
Please tell us where he's seated and what he's wearing.
He's seated right here with a black Air Jordan shirt.
Thank you. We asked for the record would reflect identification.
Mr. Bulger, do you have any objection to the identification?
No, that's me.
Okay. The record reflect that the deputy identified the lieutenant.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bulger was in the passenger seat, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That would be the front seat passenger?
Front seat passenger.
Okay. And did you hear the defendant make any statements?
I did. Yes.
What did you hear?
Basically, when Sergeant Doolin was interviewing him, Sergeant Doolin noticed an open bottle of Hennessy behind his Mr. Bulger's seat.
Did you see it as well?
I did after the fact. I didn't see it from my position on the driver's side.
Okay, so
I didn't catch a bottle of
I'm sorry, Hennessy.
Hennessy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And what is Hennessy?
It's I believe it's some type of a whiskey or. So I don't drink, so I'm not familiar with alcohol very much, but I do know it from just being around it and having experience with it.
Okay. And is that alcohol?
Yes. It
Okay.
is.
So it's an alcoholic drink?
Yes.
And where was this located at? Do you know?
I do. It was found behind the passenger seat behind Mario, and it was on the floorboard of the vehicle.
Okay, so the passenger seat directly behind Mr. Bulger?
Yes.
Okay. And how was Mr. Bulger seated in the car, if you know?
He was just forward facing in the passenger seat.
Okay, do you recall how the seat was positioned?
I don't recall.
Okay, that's fair. Now, what did you hear the defendant say?
I heard the defendant say that he was drinking the Hennessy. I believe they were on the way to the casino, if I remember correctly, and that he placed it behind the seat as he was being stopped.
Okay. Now, this bottle was still currently open?
Yes.
Or do you not know?
I do know that the cap was off.
Okay, do you know where the cap was?
It was on the floor next to the bottle.
Okay, at that time?
Yes.
Okay. When you first noticed it, when you first noticed the bottle, you believe the cap was next to it or in close proximity
In the
to it?
vicinity, yes.
Okay. And did you hear the defendant say anything else?
Towards the end of our stop, when I was issuing Mario the citation, he did say that he did deserve it.
Do you know what he was referring to?
The open intox citation.
Okay, and that's a citation that you wrote, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Deputy Lovely.
All right, Mr. Bulger, you can ask the deputy questions if you want. You don't have to, but if you do, you can ask him questions now.
You said what kind of car that was?
It was a Mazda CX-5, I believe.
No, that was a Toyota wrong around there. It was a truck.
Truck now?
Yeah, it was a Toyota. Ford wrong runner.
The vehicle, you're talking
Yeah.
about the vehicle
The
you were
vehicle I
in?
was in that night was a raw runner. It was a truck. It was a Toyota. There was no Mazda CX-5. I ain't never even drove no car like that. Been in no car like that ever. And you say it was under the passenger seat. You say you seen the liquor bottle under the passenger seat.
Yes.
It was on the driver's side, under her seat.
Yeah, just a second. It's okay, Mr. Bulger, that you get that information to me.
Mhm.
However, there's a difference between you saying something and asking him questions.
Yeah,
So if you want
okay.
to testify, which is fine,
Oh yeah, that's
but
fine.
you can ask him questions, but kind of what you're doing is testifying
Right. I ain't never really been in this like.
No, that's okay.
this,
That's
so,
the reason why I'm explaining it to you.
Mm.
So you can ask him questions. And so, for example, Mr. Yelsik, I hope you don't mind.
Go ahead, Judge.
You could have said, "Are you certain bottle was behind the passenger seat and not the driver's seat?"
Right.
And then if he said he's going to remember what he remembers,
Mhm.
and at the very end, if you disagree with that, then you could. You don't have to, but you could take the witness stand and say, "Judge, I was in a different kind of vehicle, and there was a bottle of alcohol, but it was behind the driver's seat."
Mhm.
And then, but you'd have to be under oath, and then Mr. Yelsik could ask you questions.
Right.
So if you want to ask him questions, which is fine, but think of it as you ask him questions rather than you making a statement.
Okay.
You understand the difference?
Mhm.
Okay, go right ahead then.
And you say the cap was by the bottle under the
Yes.
seat.
Yes.
You say I made a statement. I gave you a statement saying, referring to when I gave you a statement. What have I said to you?
As far as when I issued you the citation,
Mm-hmm.
you did refer to it as I deserved it, and that was the word that you used, if I remember correctly.
That's it. That's all.
Okay, any redirect?
Not based on that, Judge.
All right, may the witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if you want him subject to rebuttal, you could.
I think that would be appropriate, Judge.
Okay. So what it means is the deputy's going to step off the witness stand. They're going to call somebody else. And if you decide to testify, he may recall him to ask him questions about what you said.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. Any other witnesses or exhibits?
Yes, Judge. People now call Lieutenant Martin Doolin to the stand.
Okay. Lieutenant, please rise, raise your right hand, and watch your step when you're finished.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the record, sir.
Currently Lieutenant Martin Doolin of the Midland County Sheriff's Office.
Now, you had just heard Deputy Lovely testify, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And he referred to you as sergeant, is that correct?
At the time, yes,
That's what I was kind of getting to. So since that time, you have been promoted to lieutenant, is that correct?
that's correct.
So please tell us where you're employed.
Currently employed by the Midland County Sheriff's Office,
Okay. And how long have you been so employed?
17 plus years.
Plus years. And were you employed in that capacity on or about March 17th, 2021?
Yes, sir, I was.
And were you with Deputy Lovely on the night of March 17th?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. And please describe from your perspective what happened.
Deputy Lovely, I was the training deputy, and I was the training deputy. I was the training deputy Lovely at the time. Deputy Lovely conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle driven by Mrs. Williams, and Mr. Bulger was the passenger of the car. Upon initiating the traffic stop, Deputy Lovely made contact with the female driver, and I walked up on the passenger side.
Let me stop you right there. You said it was a car, correct?
To the best of my knowledge, whatever Deputy Lovely has in the report as the vehicle is, that's what the vehicle was.
Do you recall it being a truck
No, sir.
or an SUV?
Might have been a small SUV.
Okay.
To my understanding.
But not a big truck or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Please tell us what happened next.
Upon walking up on the passenger side, I was able to observe a open bottle. I believe it was a pint bottle of Hennessy laying on the passenger side floorboard behind Mr. Bulger. The bottle was in a condition where it was laying sideways or laying on its side, and contents of the bottle were leaking out onto the floor of the vehicle.
What happened next?
Further, during the traffic stop, I observed the cap on the center console of the car. Upon Deputy Lovely making contact and still talking with the driver, I walked around the back of the vehicle and I informed Deputy Lovely that there was an open bottle of alcohol in the car. Subsequent, I knocked on the window. Mr. Bulger rolled the window down, and I had a conversation with Mr. Bulger.
Okay, please describe that conversation for us.
It was a cordial conversation. I was asking about the bottle. There initially was a statement that it wasn't his. That was put in the car by somebody else. And I told him that the bottle was still leaking its contents freshly. He stated they were coming from Saginaw, and had the bottle been, in my opinion, had the bottle been open since Saginaw, would be empty at this time, not currently spilling its contents into the floorboard of the rear passenger seat. Shortly later on, Mr. Bulger did admit that he was having a couple of sips off the bottle prior to the traffic stop.
Okay. And where was the bottle located?
It was would be where the passenger's feet would be located, in the rear seat of the back seat of the car, passenger side.
Okay, so directly behind Mr. Bulger.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you recall the seat positioning that Mr. Bulger had at the time of the stop?
Yes, sir.
Please describe it for us.
In simple terms, it was leaned or laid almost all the way back in a position where I don't believe anybody sitting in the back passenger seat could comfortably sit or fit back there the way the seat was leaning or laying back.
Okay. And were you wearing a body cam at the time of the stop?
Yes, sir, I was.
Handing you what is People's Proposed Exhibit Number 1. What is this, sir?
It's a CD. There's some initials at the top. Down at the bottom, it says People versus Mario Darcel Bulger, the court complaint number, and it has C. Lovely body worn in-car camera, and then M. Doolin body worn camera.
Okay. Now, have you had a chance to view parts or all of this CD, DVD?
Parts of it, yes, sir.
Okay, and was it true and accurate?
Yes, sir.
Had it been changed in any way?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Based on that, people move for its admission.
Any objection?
Yeah, I object when he said he said it was in the council and he said it was by the bottle. But that's
Okay,
it.
no,
Something.
hang on just a second. So He said the bottle was in the back seat and the cap was on the console. But what I was asking about is there an objection to us playing the video?
Oh, no, go ahead, you're fine.
All right, no objection, we'll admit. Do we need to do something with the, it's all ready to go? Oh, Teresa's coming in. Yeah, I think we have to do something. burden of proof. But you can call witnesses, you can testify.
I'm here by myself.
Okay. Do you wish to testify?
No, I don't got nothing to say. I'm just getting this over with.
Okay. All right. So in closing arguments then?
Thank you, Your Honor. People believe they approved that on or about March 17, 2019, on Isabella Road or Street in the County of Midland, State of Michigan, the defendant, Mr. Belger, had an open bottle of Hennessy or alcohol in his car. It was uncapped. He admitted to Deputy Levely that it was his. He's written a citation. He deserved it. He admitted to Lieutenant, then Sergeant Doolin at the time, that he was the only one drinking out of it, and it was his. We ask that you find him guilty of operating or having a open intoxicant in the vehicle, in the passenger compartment of the vehicle, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Bulger, anything you wish to say before I make my finding?
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's what he said, but at the end of the day, like, he was like basically pressuring the female, like he gonna take her to jail. So I asked him before then, give me a breathalyzer. I don't even see that on there when I told him that. But no, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I've heard the testimony from Deputy Levely and Lieutenant Doolin, and I looked at Exhibit 1. The defendant is charged with the crime of having open intoxicant in the car. Deputy Levely testified that on March 17th, he was on duty. At 11:39 p.m., he made contact with the car. He thought it was speeding. It looked like a silver Mazda CX-5, and that's what it looked like.
Yeah,
it was a rented car.
Two different cars when I just seen it.
Been a long time since since the incident, so it looks like that was the kind of car. He said he pulled it over, talked to an Antoinette Williams. They were in Lee Township, which is in Midland County. She admitted to speeding, and then at that time, Sergeant Doolin made contact with the defendant, and there was Sergeant Doolin had seen a bottle of Hennessy behind the passenger seat, and it was behind where the defendant was. His chair apparently was laid back fairly far. Lieutenant Doolin testified that he did have contact with the defendant, and the defendant made admissions that he did have a few sips off the bottle, and that and that made admission that I deserve it. The exhibit seemed to show just that. Seemed to show that maybe somebody got pulled over, just kind of how the police had outlined it. We've been April, May, June, July. Been almost 120 days since the incident took place. I think the prosecutors proved it beyond a reasonable doubt that there was an open bottle of alcohol. The Hennessy is alcoholic liquor. It was open. It was in a passenger compartment of the car. Therefore, the defendant is guilty of having an open container of alcohol. Is there any restitution or any other issues that I need to address?
No, Your Honor, there's nothing.
Mr. Bulger, did we learn anything from this whole scenario, this whole situation?
Yeah, they just can't open it, type in the car, drive. Period. You can be on the passenger side.
Yep, can't have alcohol in the car. If you learn that, then you won't be back. All right, I'm gonna use fines and costs. It does have potential up to jail. I don't see a reason to put you in jail. I think you've been respectful. You're respectful that night. You're respectful today. I probably think you didn't know, but still against the law.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sentence you to $75 crime victim rights fee, a $50 state assessment fee, $100 in fines, and $100 in court costs. You have 21 days to appeal the sentence, 14 days to request a court-appointed attorney to do that. Otherwise, you will owe, that was expensive sip of whiskey, $325. If you could make a payment or a payment plan over at the criminal window, we're all set and all done today.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll be adjourned. Thank you. Teresa, could you make a call out to William? He did update my GIS, but he took it off my
No, if you guys are
shortcuts,
Thanks, guys.
and so I'm trying to find how to put them back on.
Sure.